And after 10 long years, India has finally won a semi-final in the ODI World Cup, an emphatic display, and they are in the final now to take on either of South Africa or Australia. Welcome to the shiny side. I'm your host, Shah, and I have with me, after a few days, Omer Basir. How are you doing, Omer?
Hi, Faris. I'm doing well. Happy to be back on the show.
And we have once again Umair Qazi, who will kick things off with a 30-second summary of the game.
Hi, Faris. Thank you for having me once again. Well, what a game. Highest ever aggregate in a semi-final. Highest score in a semi-final by India. 398 they posted, 397 actually. And after winning the toss, Rohit Sharma just went ahead and started scoring the way he always does. India got to 84 in the power play. And after that, it was business as usual for Kohli, who got his 50th ODI century. And what a moment for him to get that in front of his hero, Sachin Tendulkar, the guy whose record he broke. His wife was in the crowd as well, and a number of other celebrities. But what a moment for him. And then it was Shreyas Iyer and Rahul with some phenomenal hitting at the end, taking India to that mammoth 397. I felt New Zealand were never really in the chase till Kane Williamson and Daryl Mitchell really got it going in the middle. And when they were 200 odd for the loss of 2 wickets in 30 overs, it seemed like we were in for an epic chase. But then they lost 2 wickets in an over. And then, 397 was always going to be very tough. And at the end, a 70-run win for India and their first World Cup final in 12 years now? Yeah.
1 minute and 3 seconds, not too bad. So I guess to get things started, I have to talk about the one person who no one's talking about right now, which is Rohit Sharma and the statement he made at the beginning. India has been accused of how they play a certain way, but when the bilateral comes in, they go conservative. But this entire tournament, he has been the one who's taken it on, set the tone, and today, within 3 balls, he showed his side how they were going to play this game. And I think the innings he scored today, he was, 47 or 29, didn't even get a 50, right? It's not even the top 4 highest score. But for me, perhaps one of the most pivotal moments of the day, where he showed his team, it's business as usual, knockout or not, this is how we play. Omar, what's your take on it?
Yeah, Rohit is, history won't remember Rohit Sharma when we look at statistics, and it doesn't tell you the story. But the way he's given India starts has allowed the entire team to play around him, and specifically Virat Kohli. I think you guys touched on it in the preview as well, right? And this new Rohit, he's coming out. He's a team man, just showing that as a captain. Yeah. I'm just focused on winning, and I'm going to enable everyone else around me to play to their potential. So I think it's one of those things where people don't really remember Gautam Gambhir's 2011 performance, and also
which he's still pretty pissed about, by the way.
Exactly. I think it's going to end up being one of those, but I think people are recognizing Rohit Sharma, what he's doing here, and just amazing starts. But again, let's recognize his consistency. He's playing aggressively and he's delivering very consistently.
Yeah. And Umair, would he go down as the most selfless Indian captain we've ever seen?
Absolutely selfless, man. I am super impressed by the way he's captain and he's done what he's said he was going to do. In the 2019 World Cup, he had 500s. And till that time, Rohit Sharma, the opener, used to be watchful, start knocking it around and then accelerate at the end, like the traditional batsman. In this World Cup, if he was an old Rohit Sharma, he would have also had another 500s for sure. Yeah. He's letting go of those personal landmarks, whether half centuries or centuries, and he is ensuring that India gets that solid base and gets those 70, 80, 90 runs in the power play and making it easy for Virat Kohli to do what he does best. And absolutely selfless, completely playing for the team and leading from the front.
Yeah, and talking about Kohli, right? So before we talk about his batting, when he got to his 100 and what he was actually doing a bow down, was he doing it to David Beckham, Kiara Advani, or Anushka Sharma? Do you have any idea who he was doing it for?
He was doing it to Sachin Tendulkar.
I think it was for Kiara Advani. I think Sachin to aata rehta hai, wo kabhi kabhi aata hai. But those of you watching, if you have a view who he was doing it for, please leave a comment. But what a knock. Omar, do you want to talk about Kohli's batting? And again, right, in that pressure game, it's amazing how well their roles are defined now. So Rohit gives them that start, and then Kohli has the space to take his time and be the rock around which the entire innings builds up.
Yeah, good leadership is based around getting the best out of your people, right? So just continuing on Rohit, I mean, that's what he's done, just displayed amazing leadership. And I think that's what allowed Kohli to benefit and bloom and blossom, right? I mean, like Umair said, Rohit could have been the one chasing these records too and
Yeah.
being, very close to coming up here, but he didn't do that. He let the superstar shine and let Kohli play the way Kohli likes to play. And Kohli did justice to his captain. He delivered the goods throughout the tournament, and today was no different. He was the anchor there, but he accelerated at the right time, and great innings.
Yeah. And Umair, 50th ODI 100, a record I don't think we'll ever see broken. In my view, the best Indian batsman I've seen, possibly the best batsman I've seen. How do you rate Kohli and today's batting?
Man, unbelievable. For sure, the best batsman we've ever seen play white ball cricket. And, we were just talking about this earlier. In the 90s, Desmond Haynes had 17 ODI hundreds. And we thought that was such a big number. And Saeed Anwar was getting close to it. We were like, oh, he might get there. And Saeed Anwar got 20. And then Sachin, was around the same mark as Saeed Anwar at that time. And then Sachin got 49. So at one time, we used to think 17 would never be broken. And then 49, when Sachin made 49, he made it across 450 ODIs. So we thought no one will ever play 450 ODIs and never this record would be broken. Kohli, in his 279th innings, has got 50 ODI centuries. It is just phenomenal. It's unbelievable.
And the occasion was unmistakable, right? It's the World Cup semi-final. He's never scored more than 25, I believe, in a ICC knockout before. And Ed Mumbai in front of Sachin, in front of Beckham, in front of Kiara Advani.
I mean, picture perfect. Picture perfect. Kiara Advani and also और कौन था? अच्छा नहीं चलो कियारा ही थी. बाकी सारा टेंडुलकर थी इसके लिए शुभमन का सोनी हुआ बेचारा.
We'll come to her also.
Anushka उसकी बीवी है.
No, but Anushka तो हर दफा आती है. Kiara पहली दफा आई है.
Kiara पहली दफा आई.
But speaking of Sara Tendulkar, so Shubman Gill did something unusual for an Indian batsman. He retired hurt at 80 or 75, and he never actually got to his 100 eventually. It was quite surprising to see him retire hurt at that time, but it seemed like cramp. You thought he would continue, but I guess must have been a pretty bad one. But I guess moving on to Shreyas Iyer, we've been talking about him. Is he the weak link?
Wow.
10 matches हो गए अभी तक तो weak link नहीं है वो, but what a knock by him also. Umar, you want to talk about him?
Yeah, I think I was also one of those people who thought, Ishan Kishan should have deserved a place over him. I still would stick to it because, if everyone around you is performing to the level that they are, if the pitches are as flat as they have been, and the platform that you get when you come into bat and you go Virat Kohli on the other end, okay, realistically, it's hard to fail. Okay, I'm just going to say that. So, but yeah, credit to Shreyas Iyer, right? He's obviously put in the hard work and the results are showing. He's come off, right? He's paid his the faith that the leadership and management had in him. So no, great knock. He came in and he's been playing these really good finishing knocks, accelerating at the end, which has been the difference for India. And again, allowed Virat to play his game. Going back to your earlier comment, everyone has their roles defined and everyone is delivering really, really well.
And Umair scored. So Saudi went for 100 runs, by the way, which is just a bizarre stat. Umair, could New Zealand's bowling have done anything different today?
Look, a lot of people rate New Zealand very highly. Yes, they're a very consistent team. They make it to the semi-finals all the time, 2 World Cup finals, fine. But this World Cup, their bowling has been really, really bad. Look, Australia hit them for 388. South Africa hit them for 357. Pakistan hit them for 200 for the loss of 1 wicket in 25 overs. And look what India did today. Their bowling has been pretty average. Bolt, Saudi, Ferguson, they missed Matt Henry. Santner was good again today. Gave only 50 runs in 10 overs. But otherwise, I think very average bowling. And I feel they have also been batsman heavy and missed that 5th bowler because they've been using Phillips and Ratan Ravindra to fill in. Maybe Nisham instead of Chapman would be a better option. But yeah, I feel their bowling has been lacking throughout this World Cup. I don't think they could do anything differently, to be honest. Anything in front of this Indian batting, and maybe it would have been different had they been bowling under lights, because Bolt and Saudi might have found that swing that Shami and Bumrah did in the earlier stages. But yeah, no, just not condition suiting them, and they are pretty average.
Omar I guess Daryl Mitchell is probably the best player for New Zealand in this World Cup, right? He's been super consistent, and today was again a phenomenal knock. It's a shame that I feel like even if they had up to 350, maybe his knock could have won them the game, but it was just too much to do. How do you rate his knock today?
Yeah, when you're chasing 400, you need a couple of people playing those type of knocks to, get over the line. amazing knock, right? I mean, he took the best bowling lineup on in this World Cup, and he took, he respected when it was the right time, but he took it on the Indians. So great knock. Him and Kane, I think, like mentioned earlier, it looked like they were in it when those two were going, and it was structured well. And he hit the biggest six, I think, so far in the World Cup. So I mean, testament to his big hitting capability. But he wasn't shy. He wasn't there to, he wasn't playing the knock where he was saying, I'm going to just leave it to the last 20 overs to do this. He knew he had to keep up with the run rate, and he did a good job doing that.
Yeah. And, to be honest, when I was just saying this before we started the show, when I was watching the chase, I didn't really think there was a chance until about 25 overs in. I said, hang on, is this on? And while Mitchell and Williamson were on, it seemed like it. But then, Umair, we have to talk about this, right? So Mohammad Shami, who wasn't even in the 11, who's only playing because Hardik Pandya has now taken 7 wickets and finished a man of the match in this game, rightly so. But how good was he today?
Yeah, amazing, man. Every time he comes in, he got 2 early wickets, both the openers. Then he got Williamson and Latham out in the same over. And then he picked up the last 3 wickets. He's just phenomenal. I mean, I guess Hardik being injured was a blessing in disguise for India. Quite amazing. And just on Daryl Mitchell again, it's the second time that he's taken on the best bowling attack. Even in the group stages, he hit 130 odd against India. And it's really unfortunate that an innings like that ends up on the losing side. And I think it's the second time it's happened against India. There's the Mahela Jayawardene World Cup final century in 2011, which no one talks about because Sri Lanka lost that game. But that was a phenomenal knock also. And this one, Daryl Mitchell's, people will forget it soon because all they'll remember is Kohli's 50th and India's 397.
So
this was the first time it felt like the Indian bowling lineup was in serious pressure, and all of a sudden they weren't just in full control. And that, again, kudos to Daryl and Kane there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the last time that may have happened was against New Zealand till about 35 overs into their last game, right? So since then, they've been super dominant. Since Shami's come in, essentially, is what we're saying, I guess. But I guess for New Zealand, I don't know if you can call them the golden generation, but I don't think we would see Williamson, Southee, Bolt, Henry, maybe not even Latham and Mitchell in a World Cup again. Mitchell is also 32, by the way. So, Omar, a word for them. And I mean, this is their third consecutive. Well, they almost made it to the final, but probably won't see this a lot again. Any thoughts on them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if golden generation is the right word. They're a team that always show up, especially in big tournaments. Small population, but they keep churning out these hard workers and people who maximize talent to convert talent to performance. So I think for a few of them like Southee and stuff, I was surprised Southee was still kind of around the squad, to be honest. But few of them, time is probably up. But I think a few, again, Rachin Ravindra, new star born in this World Cup. So there are definitely a few big positives for New Zealand here, and again, I consider them to continue to be a very successful team. And I don't think this is going to be I don't think they're going to be entering a rebuilding phase. I think they're a great team that we hit that phrase, right? Punching above their weight. I think this team deserved to be here. Yes, they, similar to Pakistan, sort of lost their form right in the middle of the World Cup. But I think it's a team that if it was, if they had their best 11 playing, would have probably done better.
Umair, any thoughts on the crew I've just named?
Yeah, look, yes, golden generation for sure. But then, this generation has been around for the last 3 World Cups. They've played 2 finals, lost a semi, but they were consistently making semifinals even prior to this. So I think they'll be fine. And with Rachin Ravindra, just as Umar mentioned, with probably him at the helm, maybe even captaining New Zealand, I see a very bright future for them. I mean, it'll be fine. They'll be okay.
Also, a lot of Indian interest in New Zealand cricket. Okay, good stuff. I guess one more thing, guys, which I was thinking about this today. At the moment when Chapman came in, given that he didn't come into bat till about the 40th over, wouldn't Neesham have been a better option in the 11 today? Umair, you want to answer that?
Look, so I said it in the preview, right? When we did the preview, that I would prefer having Neesham ahead of Chapman. Because one, of course, for his batting ability lower down the order, and then the fact that he gives them a bowling option as well. So I would have definitely had Neesham coming in. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they would have chased it down, but might have got closer.
But had he come in that time, that situation was tailor-made for one of those Neesham knocks, right? So I'm not saying he would have changed it, but he would have had a shot perhaps.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a serious name coming into bat when you need those type of runs. People know
exactly.
if anyone can do it, it's him.
Yeah.
So,
and he's done it literally in a T20 ICC semi-final against England, 2 years ago, right? So he's literally the guy who can do it under pressure for you. I guess before we move on to this game, by the way, those of you watching, if you like what we're talking about, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. But guys, before we finish up on this, who do you think India would like to face in the next game? Umar, you can go first.
It's hard to say who they'd prefer. Both of those teams are, South Africa is that big hitting team. Australia is maybe a bit well-rounded, I'd say. South Africa can really surprise you, I think, on their day. So I would say maybe Australia is someone they'd prefer to play. But India is it's hard to find any kind of weakness in this Indian lineup, and I think they'd be super confident facing anybody.
Wow, I mean, that's a big call. I mean, for me, to be honest, it's doesn't matter who's playing and who the other option is. I would probably almost always choose Australia. So for me, my view is India would prefer South Africa or Australia. But Umair, you want to answer that?
At all costs, avoid Australia in a knockout. I mean, no one would want to face Australia in a knockout. No matter who's playing, they might bring another 11 from Australia, play them in a knockout, and they would be tough as hell as opponents.
Man, is this something to do with the Australia game we watched together in Dubai?
Yeah,
no, not only that, Pakistan has never beaten Australia in a knockout World Cup game ever in like 50 years, right? So not only that one game that we watched together, but every single
one. But that's the one, that's the freshest one. The Hassan Ali drop.
Yeah, exactly. But Australia is a different beast in knockouts. Very hard, very tough. The never say die attitude is just quite phenomenal. So, but given the form India is in, I think they'll take on anyone. They'll be fine. But I would still like to avoid Australia if I were them.
Yeah. So we've actually, our preview for the South Africa Australia semi-final is already out, and you should see it somewhere on your screen right now. But before we wrap up, guys, Umar and Umair, do you want to make your prediction for the semi-final? Who do you see going through the final?
Umar, go first.
Yeah, I see Australia going through for all the reasons just mentioned by Umair. I think they're much better all-round performance, team that's sort of peaking at the right time. I think they've got all their bases mostly covered. And South Africa, again, still a bit shaky chasing. They did win their last couple of games doing that, I think, but a bit shaky there, so they can be put under pressure.
Okay.
So I think honestly, it's fairly even. I'm rooting for South Africa just because it's South Africa and they probably deserve a break. And I want to see the big hitting in the final, to be honest. I want to see those guys on fire.
Yeah. Umair?
Look, I think Australia will make it, but I'll tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see South Africa win. Then in the final, I would like to see South Africa bat first, post 350, and then game on. And then whether India chase it or not, I think that'll be a great final.
I think for me, I feel like South Africa, if South Africa chase tomorrow, I don't think they're in it. I think if South Africa are batting first and they score 320 plus, it'll make for a great game. And again, if they make it to the final, same thing. If they bat first, even score 300 plus, I feel like it will make for a great game. But it won't be easy.
True.
But good stuff. Thank you for being on the show, Omar.
No, thanks for having me. Looking forward to an exciting couple more games.
Yeah, and good having you on again, Umair.
Thank you, Shreyas. It's always a pleasure.
And please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back tomorrow after the second semi-final. In the meantime, stay tuned to the shiny side.